You have been traveling at this point for approximately 4 hours as the land starts to come into view. You could see mountains for a good amount of time, but at this point you can finally see the coast, putting you at about 3 miles out. As you're making your way, you can feel the cold breeze kind of blowing against your backs. Even in Voshea, with everything bad, the trees are still green, there's still grass, but here it looks very grim. You notice that the coastline is pretty much devoid of any life. You'd expect to hear gulls at this point, but there are none. At this point in time of the night, you'd expect to see ships out, maybe fishing. You're not too far out. You'd expect the fishermen to still be out, maybe going back as the day starts to come to an end, but even that, you don't see. You thought things were bad in Voshea, but as you look out here, there's a good chance it's much worse. As you get closer, you notice that despite being the open ocean, where there should be a lot of water movement, the water's very murky. You pretty much can't see anything but like this dark greenish brown, and it smells like dead fish. What sounds to be like the trilling of bugs, but that's about it. Nothing large. There's anything that's larger pretty much has been unable to survive, which means the smaller things without prey that don't need as much have been able to just run wild. So as you kind of move in through the crashing, the movement of waves, you can kind of hear and point out the sounds of these insects. The trees they're not covered in foliage, but like they're still very much so alive, and their branches are ever long and creeping, almost like long hands, pointed out in all sorts of directions. Twisted vines and roots kind of twist everywhere. And you look and see along the coastline, it looks like this dense wall of foliage. But there's nothing green. It's all decayed and brown. You sense there is a unsettling aura around you. There is remnants of necromancy and illusory magic that just kind of fills this realm. You sense that there is such a heavy magical presence in this area. You and your knowledge equate this to the fact that very powerful creatures are able to warp the world around them. And so the fact that there are multiple powerful dragons, there are multiple of these dark creatures, these three queens, their mere existence has warped the world around them in devastating, terrifying ways.
Kura touches Osin's arm. It's like, brother, there are many, many things wrong here. These dragons are wreaking so much more havoc than we thought.
There are very many things wrong here past what your eyes can see.
I think Lumina, as like we kind of like touch down, is just kind of like, this land is utterly wrecked. There's really no other way to put it. I think I still hear maybe some crickets. I see some maggots in those trees over there. That's, I think, about the only thing alive around us.
As you say that, you hear cawing of a crow. As it kind of perches down, it flutters, sits on the tree, and you can see these piercing, unnaturally red eyes, and it just kind of tilts its head and cocks and looks at you all and goes over to one of those maggots and pecks at it, just begins kind of eating it, and it kind of looks back at you all. Then it kind of looks at you curiously. Flee! Flee!
Flee? From what? What happened here? What did this?
Flee! And it flutters off.
Well, that's not foreboding.
As you have kind of touched land, you realize that your navigation was thrown off a little, but you're still fairly close to the city of Borealis. You're maybe a half mile to the west of it, so you're just moving in a little bit to get back on path. But you can see out in distance what looks to be signs of a set of docks that seems to be pretty much abandoned. Standing on the coastline here, it's very rocky. It's not like a nice sandy coastline. It's pretty much just a bunch of rocks that kind of build up a bit of a sheer cliff that goes up about 35 feet. And that's where a lot of more of the dense forest kind of begins. Lumina, as you're kind of standing there looking around, kind of keeping an eye of the area, you notice what looks to be like this little twig doll that is hung a noose upwards onto a branch, a kind of root coming up from the side of the cliff. And it is, strangely, oddly enough, almost sort of resembles you.
Oh, you know, and I thought the maggot-infested trees, or the very scary-looking crow, or, you know, just the general vibe of this place was terrifying. Does anybody else see that?
Are you from these parts?
I just give him a look. Oh, no. I was going to say something rude or mean, but no.
I don't know why they would have a very unflattering welcome home doll of you up there. But I guess it's not a welcome home doll.
And this man is teaching our youth.
Remember about his other intelligence.
As you guys are walking, kind of keeping an eye forward, Ursa, you have your eyes peered, looking up for any detail. Osen, you're walking forward, kind of in the back, keeping an eye out, until you blink. And the world around you completely fades. You see yourself standing in a dark void of swirling mist. You kind of look around and you can see what appears to be just members of your family, your clan, people that you've met and seen over the years, and you see flashes of their dead corpses hung, impaled through large spikes, bleeding and crying out to you as they all begin kind of dragging themselves in your direction. And you see all this happening around you, and a head full of screams and cries until you're right exactly where you left, as if no time had passed at all.
Listen, his hackles will kind of go up, and he just is from this point forward very alert of everything. So much so that the pipe that he has never really let leave his mouth has left his mouth and is in one of his bags.
Osen, are you quite alright?
I don't know. I blinked and I saw visions of everybody me and you had ever met, crying and screaming and dying in various ways. And then I blinked again and it was gone.
Well, that can't be good.
I do not think this place is a good place. If we hadn't already established that before.
It's getting worse by the minute.
Ursa, as you kind of turn around, as this is happening, you kind of step forward and you feel yourself fall. And you fall a good 10 feet before you hit the ground. And as you push yourself back up, you are in this fairly deep hole that seems way, way deeper than 10 feet. And as you go to pull yourself back up, you feel a hand grasp around your wrist. And as you look up, you see another hand, and you can see the faces of your students back at home crying out. Their faces bloodied and bruised. They look decayed, larvae kind of squeaming through the edges of their ripped skin as they cry out, "You left us! You left us, teacher!
No.
Come back!
No.
Come
This
back!"
can't be happening. This can't be real.
And
What's going
all of
on?
a sudden, you kind of open your eyes again, and this time you do kind of fall to your knee as you turn around, and Ursa's just kind of collapsed for a moment before picking himself back up.
Oh,
Just
What was that?
What is
Bumping in
going
the back
on?
of Ursa. Why'd you stop there?
Did you guys see that too?
See what?
I fell in a hole and I saw my proteges, my clan, my students. They were reduced to nigh maggot-infested corpses.
Lumina kind of just like stomps on the ground around Ursa. Well, I don't see any holes here, so I think it's just this place.
The sooner we can get out of here, the better.
I think we should all hold on to one another.
As you begin to approach the docks, you can see that it's rodent infested. There's a large amount of rats and crows and bugs and insects that all kind of swarm this area, but you've never seen you've yet to see anything larger than a rat or a crow. So you look around the docks. You would expect them. I mean, you know that they've had very dominant military control during this entire thing, and think that their capital, centered just off the coast, would have a decently strong militia. There's nothing here. There's no sign of ships going in or out. There is only decay and the ravens and the rats. As you look down the path, about a quarter mile, city gates, you can see a bright orange light, fire, bellow out from the top of the walls. And the distinct and unforgettable smell of burning human flesh fills your lungs like a toxin. A moment where you almost want to vomit with how just pungent and putrid the smell is. There is a singular wall that does stand. Looks to be part of like an old storage shed.
I will cast Tiny Hut.
Okay.
Right behind there. While inside the hut, we can see out, but from the outside, it looks like a soft yellow ball. Like, imagine if the sun wasn't actually producing any light, but like that kind of color. It is like floral and bright in here, and a very stark contrast to outside of the dome.
And as you sit in, even though there is this encouraging light, a light in which before on the ship, when it burned brightly, was encouraging and hopeful, still can't shine back against the darkness that seems to be whelming up in your chest. The anxiety of the realm around you that kind of pours through the light. As you all kind of settle down and attempt to rest, you all sense at some point in time during this rest something try to creep into the back of your mind. Something trying to speak to you, convince you, persuade you. But you shut it out, tune it out. As you kind of sit there meditating, Lumina, kind of taking things in, recovering, there's this moment where you blink and you had thought that the light of your people, the light of Alfheim, would save you from the dark, but as you open your eyes, there is nothing. An abyss of endless nothing. You look down at where your hands could be, and it is so dark that you can see nothing. You have no sense of direction, no up, no down, no left, no right. Forward and backward, there's just a construct that doesn't exist here.
I think Lumina mentally is just like closes her eyes and begins to just like float in this space.
You kind of close your eyes and try to find peace in this. Then you feel something grab your ankle. You feel yourself yanked down as you are pulled down, basically in a grave. As you can see above you, your two parents take a shovel and just cover you in dirt, and you are paralyzed, unable to move. You can feel the dirt moving into your lungs, filling your throat. And as you're about to suffocate, you finally open your eyes, and kind of this trance escapes you, and you are back in the dome.
I think everyone else, for a moment, if they're like not like taking a nap or anything, they see Lumina just like exhale very sharply, just kind of like cocks her head to the side, and then goes back into like a meditative state.
I can cast Commune with Nature as a ritual, and that would give us information about the land within 3 miles of us. I'll do that. Ursa kind of like sits down and like a little mini spectral bear kind of pops up as a ritual cast Commune with Nature.
Yeah.
Hey buddy, we're trying to make our way through this city as quiet as possible. You wouldn't happen to have any tips on what kind of route we should take?
To the sea. Far, far away from here.
Well, I appreciate your concern, but
We wish we could go to
Unfortunately-
the sea. We wish we could be free of this place.
if you can tell us where in the city to go, we can rid this place of whatever's plaguing it and make you free again.
The plague is all around us. It's in us. Soon it will be in you.
I see. Thanks, little buddy. Ursa will scruffle the little spectral bear.
You approach the front gates, which you can see are held slightly open. You can see it looks like there's just like a stone brick that's kind of been placed in between the two doors to keep it propped. And you actually see sitting out front what look to be two humanoid-looking figures. The one kind of coughed, and you can see a bit of smoke blow up from a pipe that they have. They kind of lean and hand it over to the other individual, who kind of takes it, the shadowed arm, illuminated by the fires that kind of you can see through the corners of the wall or the door there. One of the individuals kind of looks up at you, and you can see a single deep crimson eye kind of look at you, a piercing kind of unnatural light emanating from it.
Welcome to Borealis, travelers. What offerings do you bring?
Yeah, you can see this individual kind of stand up, and they kind of hobble forward a little bit, their face somewhat illuminated now. You can see it appears to be this raven humanoid figure, who their right leg seems to be shriveled and almost gone from like necrosis, and they're basically holding themselves up with what looks to be a short sword that they kind of are using as a walking stick. And they've got one good eye. The other eye is kind of looks to be infected and all swollen up, and there's yellow pus that's kind of draining out from the side of it. So it just has the one that it's kind of holding at the side of its head, looking at you.
You bring
Ocean.
gifts.
Osen's gonna look at the group. He's gonna say, or he's not gonna say anything. He's just going to, he'll wait for the rest of the group to do something.
Lumina is picking up on what's about to happen. Let me. I have one thing I can try first. I do bring a gift. I bring the gift of light. And I'm just gonna cast a light spell, like just an inch from his face.
Fuck.
And it kind of hobbles back and kind of braces itself and kind of covers its arm from the light.
Get that
away!
I just kind of imagine I cast it like in my hand, and I just kind of move it to the side. Have you not seen this in a while?
Get it out of my sight!
As it says that, I'll snuff the light.
If you bring that gift to the queens, I will butcher you.
I'll give a
They
little
are
more.
not as kind as me.
Well, when I think about it, I've actually just given you a gift already. The lack of light. So, you'll let us pass now, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of hobbles.
Just in the darkness, I give a look back to the rest of them, like, that worked.
He pulls the door, kind of opening it. You can see more flames, and it kind of winces a bit from the bright fire.
Make yourself at home. Welcome to the sparkling city of Borealis.
And you look and see it's a dump. You can see through the streets, the cobblestone paths, there are buildings that look to be desolated, glass shattered, boards up, bodies laying in the street with just tarps thrown over them. There are several piles of bodies. You can see another one of these crows kind of pushing a cart that is, again, filled with corpses. And you can see at the very far end this large flame, which the corpses are being brought to. You can see rats running rampant through the street, ravens or crows kind of sitting up on top of the buildings, looking down and making noise.
Well, I applaud your positivity in the face of all this.
I had to sign paperwork.
You can see as you're kind of walking through, an individual pushing a cart kind of pushes past, and a homeless man sits there on the side of the road. Raven kind of kicks him.
You dead yet?
Check in tomorrow. He closes his eyes and rolls back and
Okay.
keeps pushing the cart.
Are there any, like, obvious families that have been, like, taken by this light?
I mean, yeah.
Just
You
like,
can see littered in the streets what look to be old children's toys, and a blanket, some clothes that look to be burned up in a pile. And Kira, as you're looking around, you see the doll made of twigs in your image. And you see someone pick it up and throw it into the fire, and you watch as it burns, and you can feel a sharp tingling sensation as almost your skin is on fire for a moment before it kind of fades.
she picks up another doll that she finds on the ground and goes, Can we finish this already? This is getting to be quite a toll on my mental health.
The old man who's kind of sitting there in the corner as you kind of walk in. You might want to dirty yourselves up there.
What do you mean by that?
Walking around like that, it's asking for trouble.
Well, I think we are the trouble, actually.
Hmm.
She walks over to him and kind of like takes his hands, just like leans down and goes, You'll be out of this soon. You'll be out.
He begins laughing, and as he laughs, you can see his teeth are all twisted and yellow.
Sure, that's funny. You made me laugh. That doesn't happen.
Sir, might get on his level.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening around here?
Hell on earth.
I mean, besides that, what are the crow people doing?
Their jobs, living their lives. They're the ones who have,
Giving themselves up.
kind of. We're all given a deal. Everyone eventually gets sick. Some people take the easy way out. I figured if there's still a god in this forsaken world, maybe on the off chance there's an afterlife, I keep my hands clean. As clean as they can get around here.
He smiles.
These are just people. Desperate people.
I figured as much. Taking
Ocean kind of looks at this dude like it's a dying dog, because that's what this is in his eyes. This dude is a dog that's on its last legs.
If you do all magically bring an end to all this, good on you. But you'll
You
probably
wish to
end up
see
like
it.
the rest.
will be the last.
That's what the last one said. 2 weeks and I'm pretty sure their corpses are incinerated at this point. But you can try. March right through that gate like you alls did. Never saw a peep of them again. Tell me, in your land, what do they think of us? Do you think us monsters? Do you think us evil?
We think the people in
Cooperatively
charge. We think the people in charge are evil.
And we think you need help.
You know, I grew up in this. It's all I've ever known. You know, I've never seen stars. I've never breathed in air that wasn't of rotting flesh. I've never heard music, but I know these things. I know they were real once. So don't try to pretend, bring hope that I'll ever see those things.
Use a mixture of thaumaturgy and light to just do like a little show in front of him. This right here is a facsimile. Oh, sorry. I dim it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Of what you'll see soon.
You can see he kind of looks into the light, hears the sounds. There's like this peaceful smile that crosses over his face. And it's as if everything that he sought to see, dreamed of, seen before him, and just quick little flash. And as if in a moment of desperation, to ensure that would never return to a moment without that, the soul leaves the body, and the man falls dead.
I didn't mean to kill him.
Yeah, it's similar to what that raven in the front was wearing. Guard's attire is walking around, and you can see one of them kind of looks at you and approaches your direction.
Hey there! You look shiny new. Where are you all from?
We're not from here.
That's evident. That's why I asked. You see, it was a question, and I thought the non-obvious answer was due in turn. You all look like fine people who I'm sure have great offerings for the queens. So, you're on your way?
Yep, well, we don't know where it is.
Oh. Okay. Well, your offerings? Go to the pyre. That's where General Azazel is. She will take your gifts. You might wanna recommend. I would recommend. If you're gonna stay around these parts, maybe acquaint yourself with some upgrades. Huh?
Upgrades in what sense?
Well, if you stay here too long, it's only a matter of time before you kick the bucket, croak, die, disease, famine. But us raven folk, we get some perks, all right? All the fresh rat you could ever want, right? On demand. Right? We get first dibs. We also, the disease don't touch us, except sometimes, but most of the time the disease don't touch us.
You know, I like to imagine Ursa was originally kind of like staring down through his nose at this man with just like an angry kind of glare that has since shifted to like a that's gross.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna go offer offerings.
Good. Do you need me to escort you?
Nope.
Okay.
Actually,
Lumino, with your passive easily beating this guy, you can see he's very clearly trying to pickpocket something off of you. And he kind of rubs his hand like up against your arm and tries to go for a bracelet or some sort of bauble that looks like it might be expensive.
as he's trying to do that, pickpocket it off of him as he's pickpocketing it off of me.
Sure. It takes it from you. You kind of just take it from it, and it looks, and it doesn't even fight. It's just like pulling it back.
So I imagine like it's like a bracelet or something that like slides off my wrist, and I just grab onto it as he's like trying to take it. I'm just like, what are you?
Ursa will just grab the dude's hand and start squeezing very tight.
Okay. Sorry.
That wasn't a very nice welcoming to the city.
I gotta have my offerings too, okay? My servitude, my sacrifice only goes so far. Only gets you so much. You all have tons of shiny things. Shiny things that me wants, alright? Look, I'm not ashamed to hide it.
Just no.
Okay. Yep.
Just no.
Mm-hmm.
Just walk away.
Yeah. I'm hearing. Yep. Okay.
And he walks away.
Where I'm from, he would have lost a hand for that.
If not his life. You know, Mother was always so hard on thieves.
She was, but she wasn't that hard. She was only that hard on me and you.
Your guy's mom cut off your guy's hands?
No, she threatened, and if we messed up something, most of the time it was used as a light threat.
A light threat?
We're a family of magic casters. Losing a hand is like losing your keys to your house. You find it again eventually.
After this encounter, you kind of stand there, and as you begin moving your way towards the pyre, you hear someone call out in a whisper, "Hey! Hey!" And you kind of look into the shadows of an alley, and you can see a humanoid figure kind of wave you into the darkness. As you are kind of pulled into the alley with this individual, they kind of grab you and quickly rush you into the dark. "Come on, get all your friends in." And you kind of look and see a bald, smooth, completely smooth skinned man, little darker in complexion, wearing pretty much rags, looks very healthy compared to the other people here. Kind of looks at you all. "Hi, what are you doing here? Who are you?"
First,
We could ask you the same thing.
who are you?
Waves his hand, and you can see what looks to be like fire, like fiery magic kind of coat his body. As you see the individual transform into a red-skinned tiefling with two horns that kind of arc back and around. They wear armor that's fairly tattered and light. On their side, what looks to be like a broken flute, as well as a lyre that seems to have all of its strings kind of fallen off and ripped apart.
You're from the last group, weren't you?
Yes. Are you here to get rid of the threat?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Before you say we're not prepared, we've already killed one.
Two.
Great.
Two.
Great. I wasn't going to say
Technically
that.
one.
I wasn't going to say you weren't
Look,
prepared.
it's outside a dragon.
I was going to ask for your help, and I was going to offer mine in return. But my group's alive, and I need to get them out. I was able to get them back to decent rest, but their wounds are infected. I can't. They're not healing. They're not recovering. This place is corrupt and evil, and I've been here for about 2 weeks now. I kind of know how this place works. The three queens and the other dragon, Ziswag, they stay held up in the keep. As you approach the pyre of fire that bellows high, you begin to see the large monstrosity ravens kind of perched up on the rooftops. And you can see the corner of a head and a face full of scales kind of turn, the light reflecting off the obsidian scales of the black dragon. You can hear that guttural roar as it kind of turns and looks around. Peering over the roofs, kind of looking around, you can hear it kind of say out, "Danger is coming. I can smell it. I see it." And you look and see as one of the large eyes kind of looks directly at you, Ursa, distance away, but like with your like eagle-eye vision, it's almost like as if it's right in front of you. I would like everyone to roll for initiative. The general kind of looks at you and is going to cast.
No, we don't do spells here.
She's just gonna cast haste.
I just want to look around, look at his comrades. Well, thankfully there was only were-crows, and not who, what, when, why, and how crows. But you, big guy, you've got to deal with me. And I'm gonna just run up and jump back on that guy,
Oh my gosh.
see. He's like 40 feet in the air. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess so. I'll run, leap onto the other roof. And when I get to the edge of the last roof, what I want to try to do is jump up as far as I can and have, since my animated shield's just kind of floating, have it beneath my feet and then kick, like sacrifice the shield to try to, you know.
And as you jump up again and then kind of throw the shield under you and kick off of it, it gives you just enough momentum that you do get up to it, so you do grapple onto the edge of its tail.
I'll as I'm holding on to its tail, I'll just like look at this dragon with the most feral kind of look possible and like an ear-to-ear grin. You thought you could escape from me?
She's going to throw a bead of force at you two. You guys are both trapped in the sphere. However, you technically have items that are flying inside of it, so it kind of falls on the ground, like falls, and hits like on the back of your shoulders, as you are both stuck within it.
Can you do anything about this sphere?
I have nothing. I'm gonna banish us both at 5th.
Oh, yeah. No, that'll work. I'll choose to fail.
Looks to Lumina and goes, I need you to trust me really quick.
Well, I kind of have to. I have nothing.
Okay, you banish yourself. You are banished, you are incapacitated, you lose concentration of banishment, you unbanish yourself, but in that time that you banish, the bead of force goes plummeting to the ground. And you are now back in the space.
So as my action, I'm gonna cast Dispel Magic, targeting the big lady, targeting haste.
Okay, and that just happens.
Yep. So
And
she
that
uses
is-
her next action. Or
Yep.
her next turn.
That's good. That's really good. Shoot your breath at your own tail. You will.
Please.
Well, it's immune to its own damage type.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
That's exactly what it's doing.
Huh?
Yeah, so it's not going to hit Osin, but it's going to hit the rest of you guys.
How rough is she looking?
How do you want to do this?
Oh, fuck.
Nice!
Oh, fuck.
While she's unable to move, Osin's just gonna place 2 of these shots are gonna go directly into the shoulders, and then the third shot's gonna go into her forehead.
You fire twice, and the third shot she does kind of, in this moment, takes 2 and snaps out of it, pulls out her glaive and kind of slices the one arrow out of the way. But as her momentum carries her forward and she looks up, the final bolt hits straight into the center of her forehead. Her eyes just kind of roll back and she falls to the ground.
I'll use the movement granted to me by Osin and my own movement to kind of like get up in that like saddled position, unsheathe my great axe again, lean into the dragon as much as I can lean into it, despite its head being way up there. We're gonna have a grand old time, and I'm just gonna start whacking recklessly.
How do you want to do this?
I like to imagine that Ursa, you know, he climbs up the tail, he gets into the saddle, and he uses his first chop to like peel off like the scales, giving that nape really nice and fleshed open. Standing up, he'll just drive his great axe through its throat and just take it plummeting to the ground, laughing like a maniac the entire time.
Yeah, and as it crashes into the building and the building kind of falls to pieces, the dust kind of settles and you all on the other side for a moment don't quite see what's happening until the rumble fades and you just see the silhouette of Ursa walking up from the smoke, a bloody great axe slung over his shoulder, and like the acid that was left in like the bowels of this dragon just kind of spewing out onto the street, eating away at everything. All kind of turn your attention, and the fire behind the pyre begins to die out. You can see through the smoke the large silhouette of a massive keep looms in the distance, and you can see there are a few torches that are lit, but overall you just feel this dark, creeping aura that fills over you, and the air around you can feel filled with dread in the moments following the death of all these creatures, and you swear you can hear the scream of wrath and anger and loss echo out into the night, faintly in the distance from the castle afar. And that's where we're going to call the end of tonight's session.